About 3 years ago, I mounted a Vision X light bar on the headache rack on this GMC Sierra. It did a very good job. I never had any issues. The only thing I really didn't like is how high it sat. Yeah, it had to sit up pretty high to get over the roof line to put the light output exactly where it needed it, but the Vision X light bar was just too thick. I didn't think it looked very good from afar. Let me try this one. I hope this one looks a little bit better, and if it's good, I want you guys to try it on your own vehicle. This is a 30-inch light bar from Procom. You can tell by all the holes over here that I've tried a lot of things. I'm picky, I want it to look good. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of take this whole plate off. Your plate's definitely gonna look different if you have a headache rack, but you can also put this on something like a metal front bumper or even a metal rear bumper if you wanna blind people behind you when they're riding your butt. The bolts have been removed. This plate comes off. I'm gonna go mount the light bar now. The light bar I'm gonna install is the SR-30 from Procom. The beam pattern is like a spot flood pattern, and it's a one-piece center housing. It's a no-screw design. They use 5-watt OSRAM LEDs with apparently 50,000 plus hours of average lifespan. It's got a cast aluminum housing with UV-resistant black finish, and when you have it in person, it's extremely lightweight. This light bar is so much lighter and much more sleek than the light bar I had on before. We did blow it up on accident in our Black Friday ad, and for some reason it still survives. So I'm not like crapping on Vision X by any means. It's a great light bar, but this thing is heavy, it's thick, and compared to that, I think this is gonna look a lot better on the headache rack. From Procom, all of the hardware is also included. Looks like it's all stainless steel hardware. And we're gonna mount it with the end brackets like this. So I'm gonna take a screw, I'm gonna drop a washer on it like this, and I'm also gonna use a lock nut just to make sure we can tighten that down. Put it through the bracket and tighten it down on both sides. Don't fully tighten this down because you're going to want to aim it later on. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a tape measure, I'm just gonna measure both sides, make sure that they're the same so that this sucker is centered, and then I'm gonna drill a hole to use the other 2 screws to tighten this down. It might be nice if you got a punch so you can just mark it out and then move this light bar and drill the hole. As you can see, I've done this about 1,000 times. I'm stupid picky. I don't like really big, chunky light bars on top of my roof rack. And in my personal opinion, I also don't think that off-road pod lights look very good on a headache rack on a truck. Let's mount this thing. I'm going to use a locking washer and the nut on the bottom side, and this should not interfere with the headache rack. This thing is not going anywhere. It mounts a little bit different than, say, the Vision X. It doesn't have these rubber mounts, so I'm interested if this is gonna vibrate when I'm driving around. If you purchase the Procom kit, it does come with this wiring harness, and if you're gonna mount this in a truck on a headache rack, this is simply not long enough, so you are gonna need some extensions. We'll probably end up building a kit on Headlight Revolution, but for the time being, what I would just suggest is going down, typing extension harnesses on our website and grab them. It's a 2-pin Deutsch connector, so you can connect to, say, the Morimoto extension harnesses. You probably will need 2 Morimoto extension harnesses and this just to route it all the way into your engine bay from the headache rack. I ran into that problem many, many times. It's much better to just connect to this 2-pin Deutsch connector than to cut and splice wiring and have it underneath your vehicle only to fail when you're running in the rain all the time. If you do use this, you got a relay harness, mount this upright, and then you've also got a generic switch. Now I'm not going to use this switch because I've already used the Pro Comp switch in my truck, so I'm actually going to connect to that. Light bars are all totally universal, and that being said, this is going to look completely different than yours. This is a very, very high level overview look of this light bar, and if you like it, you can run it wherever you want to on your vehicle as well. Another thing that this bar has that a lot of light bars don't have are blackout covers. These are snap-on blackout covers. You need these on when you're driving around during the day, technically. Otherwise, it's illegal. It's illegal to have a light bar showing like this in almost every single state without a blackout cover. Not bad. Mounting a light bar is not bad, but wiring a light bar is an interesting battle. There's like 30,000 ways that you can wire up your light bar. Now, I have already done this before with that Vision X light bar. And I've already got wiring up here, and I've already got a 2-pin Deutsch connector that just plugs right into this light bar. However, if you don't, take the harness and some extension harnesses, plug this in, drop it down below your vehicle, run it all the way underneath there. You're gonna have to zip tie it to something underneath the vehicle that's not moving, run it up into your engine bay, and then to the battery where you can connect the positive and negative battery terminals. You're then gonna have to mount that switch somewhere. It's completely different. There's a million different ways to do it. Simply plug this thing in. You are gonna need some extra extension harnesses, just don't forget that. So I'm gonna mount this back on the truck, and I can promise you guys as soon as I turn this on, it's going to just bounce off of here, or it's gonna be way up in the sky. I know at one point or another, I'm gonna have to put some spacers here, but for the video, let's just tighten this thing down. Let's give you a little rundown here of light outputs when you're mounting them on your roof rack. Right off the bat, if you have this thing mounted like this is pretty much a squirrel finder. It's a tree finder. It's the last thing you want. You have to tilt it down. But if you tilt it down too much, as we go down here, you're gonna notice that the light output disappears, and that's literally because I'm reflecting off the top of my roof. So that is too low. That's not what you want. So you might need to space this bar up just a little bit. Yes, you might get a little more wind noise, but if you space it up just a little bit, so you go up, you should be able to get the beam pattern where you want it, something kind of like that. That is what we're looking for. And let me just point out that this single row light bar is actually super bright. This thing has a lifetime warranty, and for it to be this bright and it's just a single row, it's pretty dang good. This is not an eBay special. This is undoubtedly a good investment. It's a lifetime warranty, and it's super bright. You've got a lot of focus light in the center like you want out of a light bar, but you also have a lot of ambient light too. It's not that hard to install a universal light bar on your vehicle. Remember, this could be a chase rack, it could be a metal bumper, it could be aimed backwards, aimed forwards, aimed sideways for all I care. However you desire a light bar, I think the Pro Comp really does a good job. It's super bright, it's super sleek, you can hardly even see it from that shot right now. It is what I wanted. I don't want something that's sticking out like rabbit ears, and I think this achieves it just right. Go to headlightrevolution.com. We test lighting all of the time, and we want you guys to own the best lighting, not some waste of money. We'll see you guys over there.